If you spend any amount of time online, you're getting bombarded with every new tech invention that's been out there. But should you be investing any of your time as a lawyer in getting these new technologies invested and integrated in your business? I've brought back Jess Birkin and Jared Correia because they both have lots of thoughts on how and when we should be integrating new tech. This is a fun chat and it goes in a lot of different directions. It was a lot of fun to sit down with two frequent guests on the podcast and really letting loose on what we think about a lot of the tech trends that are out there and generally aren't ready for prime time for lawyers just yet. Let's get to the chat. I'm John Strohmeyer, and this is the 5-Star Counsel Podcast. The market for legal services is shifting, and lawyers who don't adapt will be left behind. This podcast gives you a competitive edge in today's market by sharing the client service lessons you probably didn't learn in law school or in law practice. Let's start the show. Hey 5-Star listeners, before we start, I want to tell you about our amazing sponsor, Smith AI. Smith AI is a virtual receptionist service for small businesses with a specialty in working with solo and small law firms. I signed up with them within weeks of starting my firm because they are affordable for even the smallest solo practice. Their friendly receptionists respond to potential clients in Spanish or English, screen and schedule new leads, and can even take payments. And now they're answering calls 24 hours a day. So even when you're asleep, they're still working. Even beyond the phone, they've got live agents and chatbots ready to capture leads on your website, by text, and by Facebook Messenger. Smith's friendly gatekeepers can staff your front line so you can work uninterrupted. You can finally have the peace of mind that while you're working, you're not missing out on future work. Plans start at just $70 a month for calls and $100 a month for chats. Smith AI is offering a free trial, and our podcast listeners get an extra $100 discount code with promo code 5STAR. That's FIVESTAR. Sign up and learn more at www.smith.ai. Don't let another day go by. Try Smith AI. Jared Correia, Jess Birkin, it is great to have you on for this, our first roundtable discussion of what lawyers should not be doing with their technology.
Thanks for having us, John.
I love it. Can we do this more than once? No, go ahead.
Right?
I mean, the sad part is we really only have about half an hour to get through, well, what we came up with as 5 topics, though I'm sure there are many more. So, format for today is going to be a little different. I'm going to read off a description of the things we're thinking about. You're going to tell me what you think it is. And we'll kind of go from, well, why should we not be worried about these technologies right now, and what can we do instead? Mm-hmm. So, ready to go?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I don't have topic my buzzer. No.
I am keeping score.
Okay, good.
So, topic number 1, always popular everywhere right now. This is an online media platform that allows people to create an avatar for themselves and have a second life in an online virtual world. It's been developed by a San Francisco company. It's seen rapid growth. Jess and Jared, what are we talking about first?
What is the metaverse, John?
Jared, would you...
Ladies
first.
first.
I'm very sorry. You are both wrong. I'm in fact talking about Second Life. The answer was in the question.
I thought the questions are going to be about technology from this decade. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
No. So the underlying message here is there are always going to be these fads. Second Life launched in 2003, had rapid growth until 2013, but in 2017 had stabilized and had started to drop off. So you're right. I was thinking about this in the context of the metaverse, which sounds a lot like Second Life.
Sure does.
It is. It's basically Second Life, right? Can we all agree that?
It's
Second Life.
Second Life.
It's reincarnation, proof of reincarnation.
It's Facebook virtual life.
Yes. What is old is new again. We've got the metaverse. Zuckerberg is coming to give us something brand new where maybe we'll see something new. Jess and Jared, what do we even do with the metaverse?
Ignore.
Yeah, ignore. I'm like, you didn't need this when it was Second Life. You don't need it when it's Third Life or whatever metaverse This is just, I think like you don't need to worry about this technology. You don't need to worry about building your virtual office in the metaverse. Like focus on, does your office like actually function in the real world first?
Yeah, can we talk for a second about the verse? Like our
Sure.
existing world where like no one's doing this right anyway. Like whenever people talk to me about Second Life, I find it hilarious, or the metaverse as we call it, because like it proves that there's no end to Zuckerberg's inanity. And then you're going back to a tech that people didn't like and use 15 years ago. So how about making sure that your existing office is run correctly? And you're running your business the way you should be running it today in real life. And whenever anybody's like, you know what you should really do? You should really check out the metaverse. I'm like, I can't even get my own act straight in my normal life. And I'm supposed to have a second life? Like one life is enough, honestly.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the context of like the COVID pandemic that we're just coming out of and all these restrictions, like, isn't there enough to manage right now that we don't need a second life to bother with? Like, it's just another hassle for me. Honestly, and if it's another hassle for me as a business owner, it's probably another hassle for my clients, or if I'm a lawyer, for my law firm clients. It's a non-starter for me.
Exactly. Unless your client happens to be Facebook or Facebook adjacent.
Yes.
In more than we have a Facebook fan page or we advertise on Facebook, I don't think there's any reason to be involved in the metaverse or Second Life. It's a waste of time and effort that nothing has been proved on.
Now people will tell me that the metaverse is more than just Facebook, right? They're like, okay, Facebook has a metaverse, but there are theoretically other metaverses out there. But it's kind of like these Marvel movies now, where there's a million different characters living in 1,000 different universes, and nobody knows actually whether they exist or not. Like, I don't see anybody else pushing the metaverse, and I'm not seeing metaverses out there that anybody's going to use. So yeah, I would wait a good long time before you even look at this technology if you're a practicing lawyer. You got better things to do.
Exactly. So, in the alternative, I think teasing out what you'd both said, focusing on the reality of your own office, whatever that might be, that is a much better use of your time and effort. I mean, I know from having rented my, my office is in a Spaces, which is a sub-brand of Regus. I've been in there for almost 4 years. Not every client says they like it, but I haven't heard anybody complain about it. It looks totally fine, and nobody's expecting marbled floors and fancy reality offices, much less dragons and fountains and 4-dimensional chess setups as they wait for me to pop in.
You don't have Dungeons and Dragons in your office? Sorry, Jess. Go ahead.
He probably does, though. That's the thing.
I think so. I would bet on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've got plenty of tchotchkes in there. I've got my bobbleheads and my squeezy toys that I've collected from around the world's legal conferences. And soon my Lego collection will start moving in there as well. But that's because that's reality. So, if there's nothing else on this, I think we can move on to our next topic, if you're ready.
Ready.
Let's do it.
All right. We're moving out of software. We're going to think about hardware. We're going to talk about an optical head-mounted display designed in the shape of a pair of glasses. Developed by a company with a mission of producing a ubiquitous computer, it displays information in a smartphone-like hands-free format. Wearers can communicate with the internet via natural language voice commands. Jess and Jared, what are we talking about?
Google Glass. No.
Oh, Jared.
We're talking about what is Oculus, John?
Oh, Jared gets the correct original Wikipedia article I am reading from.
I actually remember people with Google Glass. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Jess? Like,
oh God, yeah.
People like, don't I look amazing? I'm like, you look like an asshole.
Oh, and again, what is old is new again. Nobody's using this. This is, oh my God, just.
I mean, what are we're trying to do? Like, we're the Terminator from the Terminator movies. We're Arnold Schwarzenegger. We need to like assess legal problems with our special glasses that size up the opponent's legal wit. I don't even. What would we be doing with that? Presenting in virtual court that doesn't exist?
Yes, come with me
Exactly.
if you want to live.
Yeah, again, it's people aren't using this. I know my clients who, because of my estate planning practice, the clients do skew older in demographics, but I still have plenty of young families coming through. None of them care about this yet.
Nobody has requested a meeting virtually in augmented reality with you?
Shocking.
Not one person has even mentioned it. Zoom has been more than enough for all of my clients.
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody walked into a law office and the lawyer was like, "Hey, can I hook you up with this VR headset?" They'd be like, "No, thank you." Like you're just gonna look super weird. And
yeah,
I guess,
or it's like something out of Clockwork Orange. Like, what are you trying to do to me?
Yeah, right. Are the doors locking behind me? I feel like a lot of this stuff. I remember. So I'll tell a quick story, if I may. I remember when we got like Amazon Echo or whatever for my house, and my kids are like, "Oh, this is amazing. We're going to use this all the time." We used it one day, and they were calling up songs on it, and then we forgot it existed, and then Amazon Echo became, "Oh, that lady's talking to us again. We're trying to have conversations amongst ourselves." And we pitched it. And like all this stuff, like honestly, like all these computer devices, like you can use voice recognition on your laptop or on your iPad. Why do you need to wear a piece of glass on your face to do the same thing? Like I want to be a little bit more separated from my technology than that. And as you both said, like there's no real client demand here. Nobody's clamoring for VR headsets from law firms.
Exactly. There is some thought that there will be a new realm of legal practice. You're going to be the lawyer in VR or whatever. If you have clients who are already there and you're already helping them in this, yes, maybe there might be some minor, like the one or two lawyers who are out there listening to this. Don't listen to us on this. But for everybody who is in, estate planning, probate, most litigation, most PI, most family law, most criminal defense.
Yeah, just go ahead and say it. Any law practice.
Just pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Just pretty much everybody does not need this. And
Yes.
it's like, could you get like a big dopamine hit from like trying something new and feeling like you're cutting edge? Yes. Do you need to do that? No.
Yeah, like play Madden or something with the VR headset. That'd probably be pretty sweet. But you don't necessarily need it to bring it into the business context.
So, all right. Next topic. The idea behind this digital product is that it allows an e-commerce marketplace to connect subscribers with merchants by offering activities, travel, goods, and services. Jess and Jared, what could we be talking about?
It's a pretty broad definition.
Yeah, what are you, eBay? I don't even know.
Okay.
Yes, eBay? Or they will sell it for you on eBay's store?
Zooming into the late 90s. No, I was actually thinking of Groupon as a way of...
Wow, nice.
Groupon, but getting more to the more popular topic of my company needs to have a non-fungible token.
Oh, good Lord.
NFTs.
NFTs.
Jess has a lot to say on this.
Jess, you're a resident crypto expert.
Right.
Should
Bitcoin
law firms be
only.
involved? We're not
NFTs.
going down.
Should law firms be involved in NFTs? No, unless you are trying to create a practice area, like guiding companies who are issuing NFTs, and that is like maybe your bankruptcy practice fell off for a while and you need to like fill with something. Potentially, that's like less than 0.1% of all attorneys. Everybody does not need to worry about NFTs in the context of their law firm. And no, you do not need to issue a token or have John Coin or Jared Coin in order to transact business at your firm or something. And nobody wants a digital baseball card with your face on it.
Oh, really?
Sorry, John.
You better stop. You better stop production on that, John. I know you're far along. So wait, like, yay or nay? Lawyers should be taking payments in NFTs. And or crypto?
No, they're
Yes, no.
NFTs are like basically if you think like a digital baseball card or like the ticket that shows you were at the concert. It's like a tradable. It's nothing. It's just
It's a proof of
We shouldn't
purchase.
even be talking about it.
I knew I should have saved
certificate.
all my receipts. So you're telling me
Yeah.
my 1988 receipt from Stop and Shop, I could be selling that shit online now?
You could take a picture of it and then mint it as a NFT and sell it to the next pleb out there who's willing to part with their hard-earned ducats.
Wasted opportunity. My bad. So it sounds like we're a no on NFTs for law firms.
We're not freaking today on these.
That's fair.
Yeah. Again, what I'm seeing online, not just for lawyers, but for all firms, these are ways to create hype, to get access to people or marketplaces by showing you've got this thing out there. There are people making money on NFTs by selling this. There's the Bored Ape or Pirate Ape or whatever that is. They seem to have suckered people out of their money by some exclusivity. But for the most part, there's nothing for lawyers in their lawyer practice to be doing with NFTs, at least not freaking today.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, I said this before, like, if you're looking at, like, your clients and you're trying to convert clients as a law firm, like, what client in any practice area is going to be like, damn, that law firm has an NFT. I got to use them. Like, it's just not a sales proposition for law firms. It's not.
And if it's a branding play, like, you're seeing like Pepsi and like all these big companies are minting NFTs, like your marketing department is not $10 bajillion. Just could you please focus on branding your actual firm? Do you have a good social media presence? Do you actually have a good website? Like, let's do the basics and make sure that your basics are on point. Like, do you have basic SEO on your like we don't need to go to the utmost newest extremist marketing ploy. We just need to focus on the 101 and the 201.
Perhaps do a newsletter about NFTs. Let's start there.
There you go. Yeah.
And how you have no plans to integrate NFTs into your current practice offerings because it doesn't change anything.
And maybe
Take a
warning
stand.
your clients about not getting scammed.
That's a good one. Yes.
That is a great... How not to be scammed by NFTs.
Yep.
Excellent.
We're cruising.
3 topics down,
Yeah.
2 topics to go.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. So, this next one, all over right now. It's going to be the ultimate platform for the next generation of immersive interaction in the online world. Please... People will be able
Metaverse.
to...
No, go ahead.
We already did that one.
We already did that one. People will be able to freely explore the virtual environment, and you'll be able to network together for incredible head-to-head immersive gaming experiences.
It's going to be Web3, right?
Jess?
I don't know. It sounds like the metaverse again. I'm not sure.
Well, Jared, you're close. Web3 is what I was going for, but I was, again, reading copy from the early 90s for a company called Virtuality. Now, Jared, you are of an age, you might remember going to your local
Wait
arcade.
a second. Yes, I do.
Going to a local arcade in the early 90s and playing a game called Dactyl Nightmare, where you had a 15-pound helmet on your head, and you were shooting rocket launchers at a pterodactyl in space.
I'm probably older than that. This game sounds awesome, though.
That sounds very advanced for children of the 80s.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
like,
that
the
might have
best we
been
did
like
was,
early
Duck
90s.
Hunt.
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, I remember paying, I think, probably $5 in 1992 or 3 for 3 minutes in this thing.
Oh my god, I never played this game. Wow. Okay, I got to get on this. This is what I'm doing right after we're done. Dactyl Nightmare. I'm all over it.
Apparently, it's already up on... They've rebranded it and released it on Steam. The bigger point, we were getting at Web3, which, for lawyers, doesn't mean anything right now. There is nothing for us to do. If you can explain Web3 in less than 3 paragraphs, you're probably missing something, and at the same time, it's whatever the next phase of the internet is. Jared and Jess, you're smart, hip people who know about technology. What do we need to know about the Web3?
Well, Jess is, so she's
The
a
Web3.
star.
I mean, I would just say pretty much nothing. Here's the thing. Like, we still have landline telephones, okay? For whatever that was like pre-web 1.0. We're still using telephone. We're still using the internet. The way it was created has been working just fine, and it's extremely unlikely that we're going to get the entire world to shift over to some other version of the internet anytime soon. So I'm putting this in the VHS versus beta. This is beta.
I'm looking at a definition of Web3 because I just looked it up while we were talking, and it says Web3 is currently work in progress and isn't exactly defined yet. I feel like
Right.
we could tab anything we've talked about as far as that's concerned. And the other Jess makes a good point because like I think people always expect these trends to pick up speed faster than they actually do. So I am old enough to remember the Back to the Future trilogy, John. And if we can remember back to that, like the vision of 2015 and Back to the Future 2 was flying cars and jackets that would shrink to fit you. Like that technology, hoverboards. I forgot hoverboard. That technology doesn't exist aside from the hoverboards. People create them and they crash them every so often. But like, people have a skewed view of how quickly folks are going to move off of existing technology. So I'm with Jess here. Like, when is Web.3 going to become viable, if ever? And I think the if ever part is important. Maybe not even in our lifetimes, to be honest. Maybe not in my kid's lifetime. So like we talked about before, let's get Web 2 squared. Like, get your web presence rolling. Like, get some engagement going on your site. I still see lawyers producing, like, bad websites in our current iteration of the web. So let's focus on that instead.
There's probably nothing more to say about Web3. Again, maybe I'll tie it up with this. If somebody's selling you the lawyer's guide to Web3 and it's anything more, well, if they're selling you, don't buy it.
Yeah. First things first.
It's a free download.
First, free download only. Make sure you don't enter your email address for this because who knows what level of spam you're signing up for. But this is not the area where we need to be pushing the frontiers.
No.
Agreed.
All right.
Here.
Here. Last topic. This company sold a proprietary single-serving packet on a repeated basis. It's obviously the future for how we're all going to get everything. Jess, you are already using this somewhat. Jared, you've probably talked about it before. What are we really talking about, and what defunct company am I actually reading about?
Single serving.
Is it Soylent Green? You should know that it's people. It's people, John.
Is it Keurig? Is it K-Cups? What are we talking about? Single serving?
Oh, so trying to get it subscription, but looking at the company known as Juicero.
Juicero. I
This
remember that
didn't even
vaguely.
permeate my consciousness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
John, were you into Juicero?
No, but it's funny to look back at them. So, Juicero was an American company that designed and manufactured the Juicero press, a mechanical press marketed as a fruit and vegetable juicer. Now, the press had a Wi-Fi connected juicer that used proprietary single-serving packets of pre-juiced fruits and vegetables that were sold exclusively by, and here's the kicker, subscription. So from 2014 to 2017, the San Francisco firm raised $120 million in startup venture capital. Again, venture cap, not a thing for lawyers, from investors.
That's another show.
Yeah, another show. The idea was, you were going to home juice. The reality was you paid for effectively Capri Suns.
I know,
and then,
what? Who bought this?
And an expensive machine that just squeezed it out of the tube.
Wait,
I've got
am
two
I
of those
alone?
attached to my arms right now.
Yeah, right. Am I alone in saying that I would buy a Capri Sun subscription? Am I alone in that? I totally would. Can I get Endo
Amazon
Cooler
Prime,
on there?
you can do it.
Lord Bezos is happy to provide you with regular deliveries of Capri Suns and any other product you may need,
Yes,
Jared.
excellent.
So, Jess, you do a lot of subscriptions. Subscriptions are good for some clients and for some practices. But Jess, are they for everybody, for every practice, everywhere, all the time?
Well, certainly not. And here's the thing, like if I had a nickel for everybody that wanted to like pick my brain about they might maybe start a subscription and how would they do that, I would have about $5. But the thing is, like you got to learn to walk before you can run, right? And it doesn't really necessarily make a whole lot of sense to have a subscription based service or go to an all flat fee model or even do all a la carte limited scope stuff, which are those are all things that I do, until you have mastered how to be efficient and use, the technology you have available to you, because it just you've got to like focus on using your tech that's no code. You don't have to know how to do a SQL server or something like that, but you've got to master some things like virtual meetings, having a good website, online scheduling, actually running your cases in a time effective manner, which we are not trained to do, right? So I think it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I talk to people about subscriptions all the time, and you get a lot of these, to Jess's point, new law firms are like, hey, subscription sounds really good. Like regular income, like I can count on it, but it's really hard to develop. And then for some practice areas, it's almost impossible, right? Like, I think it'd be really hard to pull off like a litigation subscription business. Like, how would you do that?
Yeah, or like
And
PI.
Yeah, and for some it makes a ton of sense. Yeah, like outside counsel, like that's a great thing. That's a great option for subscriptions. But like, you got to figure out what the rails are around the subscriptions. And then the other thing is that a lot of people don't think of this, but two of the issues are, one, like most lawyers don't run subscriptions. So it's hard to explain to clients what that is and means, right? And to get the value proposition straight, because they don't know. It's kind of like doing mediation or collaborative law versus straight family law. And then the other piece of it is like it's also hard to explain to your malpractice provider, who's like, where's the line between like legal services and consulting and what is going on here? So in a lot of cases, unless you can do it well and you can get the value proposition right, it may be bringing on more troubles than you want. So you definitely something you want to experiment with first. And whenever I tell anybody to do subscriptions, I say like, try it with a few trusted clients first and see how it goes before you launch it more widely.
Right, and this is where I, as an estate planner, like, people should be checking in with me. We do want to keep them around so they don't go anywhere. And I have a few clients who are on subscription. Some are a couple $100s a month. Some are several $1,000s a month. The ones who are several thousand, we're doing stuff for them every month. And these are bigger projects to kind of maintain things. And they're also shorter term. It's not, I don't treat these clients as annuities where, hey, they're going to be paying me thousands of dollars a month until the heat death of the universe. These are clients who I'm even looking at it now as like, all right, well, we've been charging them this. Once we're done with this series of projects, I'm going to cut them way, way back because they'll just have a question or two. And it really is just having the regular meetings with them and their other advisors to make sure they stay on target. For most of my clients in the estate planning practice, it is you don't really need much other than a quick question here or there. My job is to keep them from forgetting about me when in 3 to 5 years it's time to make an update. I want them to still remember who we are. And that's, I don't necessarily need them to pay me for that. I just need to keep them around so they remember who I am.
Yeah, and I think this gets back to I think a lot of lawyers hear subscription and they think that means money coming in the door every month for me. And they don't really go beyond like, that sounds good. So, just going back to the, like, you've got to have your marketing on point. You need to know what your value proposition is. You just like what Jared was saying. You can't be like, we're tough, fair advocates for you, and we have eagles and gavels on our website. We are
and 800 years of experience.
Yeah, 800 years of experience, and we are a commodity. There's just a lot of ground you have to cover before you can meaningfully offer something that has a recurring revenue component.
How about picking out a logo that doesn't have scales of justice on it and uses blue, white, and gray color scheme? That's the starting point. We could do that before we start offering subscription services.
Right. Like what sets you apart from any other law firm, is number one. And then you can start thinking about what could you actually offer in a recurring revenue model. Because what I do isn't even necessarily like what they have access to isn't my time, right? And that always blows people's minds.
But that's the way you want to do it. So if you're out there thinking about subscription models, you don't want to tie it to your time. There's going to be a different value proposition.
Exactly. So this has been a lot of fun. Jess, where can our listeners find you?
Oh, you can get at me on Twitter at Jess Birkin, or you can find me on my website for lawyers, hackyourpractice.lawyer.
And Jared, where can listeners find you?
Well, for starters, my Second Life profile. No, that'd be totally disingenuous at this point, right? Two places. I'm at Red Cave Consulting, redcavelegal.com, and then Gideon Software for chat and document assembly, gideonlegal.com. Either place, hit me up.
Excellent. Jess and Jared, thanks so much for joining us. We will almost certainly have more things to talk about in terms of lawyers wasting time, effort, and money on things they shouldn't. Thanks so much for listening. You can find more info on us and get your free white paper on client service at 5starcounsel.com. You can get in touch with me at john@5starcounsel.com. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe wherever fine podcasts are found and leave us a review wherever you can.